trying to get this stuff up.
What you want? What you want?
From our Southern California studios, welcome to the Unscared Sports Show. It is Wednesday, May 9th already. I'm your host, Doug Katona, along with...
Brian Mackenzie.
Man, what a whirlwind last couple of weeks, huh?
Still whirlwind right now. I'm trying to get this out on the social media.
So, it's been a while since we've seen you. We're going to get back on track. I know a lot of you have been asking where the show has been, and that's a good question. We're going to answer that today, and then we're going to get back on a regular schedule. We had a flood of questions after the last show that we did on nutrition, recovery, and we're going to address some of those questions. We didn't have an opportunity to address everybody, so we'll do that today. We have been two busy guys last couple of weeks. What have you been up to? It's the first time I've seen him. Usually we see each other almost every day. But we haven't seen each other in about a month.
So. No, a month and a half.
Oh,
Yeah, you were gone for 2 weeks. I was in New Jersey for a month, and I'm back, and then I'm back to the Dirty Jersey. Actually, at the end of this month, but I'm actually headed to Ohio tomorrow for the Central East Regional live on ESPN3, the Trace. And you are headed to SoCal Regional.
The war
of the women.
Yeah.
I got Kinnick competing out there, and then I'm back. I drive up to NorCal next week to deliver some stuff and go hang out with the Starettes as I am moving to Northern California. I will actually be neighbors with the one and only Kelly Starrett, and then after I'm back that week, I'm here for a week to pack, and then I go to Jersey, and then we're in Munich. Is that right? Is it Munich, Germany?
Yeah. We are in Munich, Germany.
Munich, Germany. Come back again. And then we got the games. And then I'm off to London for the Olympics.
So basically it's going to be a blur.
I actually, every time I've explained that, I think
You're actually explaining it pretty well, though.
Yeah, but I think my cortisol levels and everything start to go up.
If you don't know, all that travel, he doesn't like to travel.
No.
Right?
No.
Actually, we both prefer to probably stay around.
You travel better than I do, but I don't travel well at all. I hate traveling.
I just go into ultra endurance athlete mode and just kind of switch my engine on low and just, you just have to take.
Well, dude, you brought the Apache with you to Portugal.
I did bring the Apache. The Apache came with me. She traveled. Mrs. Katona traveled internationally for the first time. I didn't know what to expect.
If you didn't know, she's got some Apache blood in her, so I nicknamed her the Apache.
Well, we actually went to, our trip was, we visited Yami Tikkanen's box in London, Thames CrossFit. I keep saying it wrong. Thames CrossFit. And those that Yami is actually part of the CFE family. He's part of us. He's like Brian and I. He coaches top games athletes, and it was really cool to hang out with Yami on Friday over in London, and we just talked shop for a long time. Believe it or not, we get together. You'd think we'd talk about something else. We talked about movement. We talked about mechanics. We compared notes on our programming.
So we did.
It's what we do all the time. So London was rainy. It was cold, and so we thought we're going to go to Portugal and see beautiful, warm skies. And it rained. It rained like 80% of the time. But we were at a great place called The Cross over there training. It's a training mecca for endurance athletes. Look it up. Christian is the host. You get your own personal chef. You drive around in four-wheel drives and almost fall off of cliffs and die. A lot of entertainment. It was good stuff. And then, Germany. We're going to do, for the first time, a back-to-back run seminar and cycling seminar back-to-back.
Cycling, then run.
Cycling, then run. So I just follow wherever my plane ticket says to go. I go.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're halfway through regionals.
Yes.
Already.
Shit.
Man, it's, we'll talk a little bit in a few minutes about SoCal coming up in Central East because we both have vested interests there. And any surprises for you so far? in the regionals? And I think these, first of all, the workouts.
Not really surprises. The workouts, it's been like I thought. I put something out a little while ago. Not that anybody was really paying too much attention to it, but I just thought it was going to be a real big separation between the Open and the regionals for most people. Which we know the top people. We knew the top people that would do well did well. Off of that, it was just, even if, I don't know, Africa or Asia is a real good example of it, but having as many DNFs as you did or people who didn't finish, it's just not being up to par or snuff with that next level and trying to find that 1%. I don't even think it could be called 1%, but, some pretty incredible performances. Last weekend, Matt Chan, holy shit. Setting 2 world records, I believe, and and he's a beast. He's 215, dude. He's no small man. In fact, I've told
he's bigger than me.
I've told his wife. He's a 1.5 Dougie. I coach his wife Cherie Chan, who did really well. She didn't make it through to the games this year, but she had PR'd and done made incredible gains. I was out there working with Cherie and Matt not too long ago, and so was Starrett. And we, it was just an amazing thing to see with Matt. It was also good to see Cherie do what she did, and she's accomplished a hell of a lot.
Well, I think it's amazing. When you said, it's funny, you talk about Africa and Asia, and we were having dinner last night talking about it, and we said, man, did you see the results out of Africa and Asia? And if you looked, I don't know how many women actually could finish all 7 workouts. It was just 2 or 3.
No, one in Africa, I believe.
And it's not that's.
No, they're just behind. They're just
right.
behind what's already occurring. It's just a matter of time before they catch up. But
well, I think it makes you appreciate what we're also seeing out of all the other regionals with all the athletes that actually are finishing those workouts. Because if you look at those workouts, I don't know about you, but I tried the dumbbell snatch workout, and I tried it with 70. It wasn't very fun.
Well,
no, but still, look.
Yeah.
It's
dude.
Regardless,
none of this stuff is. Other than Diane, but back
as a
to
warm-up.
It's like and out in Central East, South Central. Brian Diaz, who I coach, ended up winning. He was just incredibly consistent. He went like 9, 6, 5, 6, 3 on his workouts and his placing, and we just remained consistent and across the boards. And that was what it was taking. Even though, like, you have somebody like Ben Smith,
right,
in Mid-Atlantic, who is insanely consistent with first, second, maybe first.
I think he got first across the board he dropped to an 8th.
One workout, we might have found a little hole.
Well, you look at that Mid-Atlantic region, him and Jen Jones. Jen Jones dominated outright in the women's category there as well, and that's an impressive region at the top shelf area. So I think looking forward now, you're going to see some big regions come up. You've got SoCal, obviously. You've got Central East. You've got NorCal coming up next weekend.
NorCal is going to be the men's version of SoCal for the women. Just crazy.
Yeah, I think in the SoCal region, we counted, there's no shy of 8 women potentially that could be on that podium at the end of the weekend. And what do you think on that? I think
there's going to be 4 spots that'll go, because Clever will most likely place in the top 3, barring any, and I don't wish this upon her, but barring any injury or her not completing, she'll finish in the top 3 easily, if not win it. Just with her consistency. With that, a spot will go to a 4th place person because she's a prior champion. Right. Same with Froning, right? Out in Central East. So, I think that we'll see quite a few. I think we're actually going to see some things in the women's that out in SoCal where we're going to see some glaring defects. Where we wouldn't do, that some gals that might have done real well in open, but mechanically speaking, they're just not going to be able to get it together with the, like that heavy dumbbell snatch and also that heavy deadlift muscle up, that big ass chipper.
Well, the amount of deadlift that has to be done between Friday, you got Friday and Sunday deadlift. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of deadlifting and I think, to your point, it's going to really show who can move well right now and who can't, because this is, you've got 2 workouts a day. You've got enough time in between, but the body will break down over time.
Dude,
and what happens when
2 women in the Southwest, in the 2 of the top women within the top 5, were injured by day 3.
Well, we saw that out of the Mid-Atlantic as well. We saw a couple of injuries out of some key people that I thought were going to do a lot better. And, it's movement again. I mean,
Movement
you don't get injured. I mean, if you know how to move and you put your body in the right position to move, the worst thing that's going to happen is you can't lift the load, but you shouldn't injure yourself. And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, the sacrifice for, glory can be great, but hey.
Well, and I think that, we focus as coaches all about movement and mechanics first. And again, this is where you're seeing Ben Smith, and I saw some video of him, and pretty crisp, pretty clean.
Yeah. He's a strong young kid, though, and he mechanically moves well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's like a Froning. He moves well.
Yeah.
Has a big engine, and he's good at what he does. With training and the mechanics thing and the movement thing, it's just you can hammer during training, and then when the competition comes, that's where it's like, hey, I hope that because of the training, this is where we fault to, and we become, and this is what that's where we want to fault to, is that good positioning, good movement standards, and they're not going to wind up getting injured or sacrificing something in order to.
So, and when you combine that with what do you do? To me, it's there's 24 hours in a day, and those workouts are taking no more than 17 minutes, 12 minutes on average, and some even shorter. To me, it's not the actual workout. It's what you're doing outside of the workout. What are they going to do after the workout? How are they going to recover? How are they going to sleep? What are they going to do for warm up? To me, that's going to be the difference between 3rd, 4th, or 5th in a lot of these. Because physically, they're all at about the same ability, especially the SoCal women war that's going to happen. To me, it's going to be, how prepared are you? And what can you do to recover immediately after that workout's over? You should be looking ahead already. Which leads us into, I want to jump into the questions and the comments that we got after our nutrition piece. A lot of comments, a lot of questions from you, and there was a couple of key things that we want to answer. One of the big questions that kind of surfaced out of that nutrition and hydration talk was, what do we think is the most lacking area that we see in endurance athletes or athletes that train more than once a day? So, to us, an endurance athlete and a CrossFit Games athlete, or a CrossFitter, maybe that's one of you out there, most of you, if you're training more than one time a day and you've got a job, you've got a kid, 2.5 kids, a dog named Rover, and a station wagon at home, you've got a lot of things to consider. If you're a Games athlete or professional cyclist or triathlete, you can recover. You have the luxury of doing that, but a lot of people don't. So a lot of the things that we got were, what do we think are the 1 or 2 key lacking areas in nutrition or hydration for athletes that we've run across, because we see it all over the board. I'll let you answer that one first, with the understanding that everybody's kind of biochemically different, and it really depends upon who you are, what the conditions are that you live in, and climate and all that sort of thing. But in your opinion, out of all your travels and all the endurance athletes that you deal with and athletes you deal with, what do you think is probably the 1 or 2 key areas that most people really need to look at with nutrition and hydration? Is it pre, post, during? Is it a specific macronutrient that you think people are generally lacking?
In my experience with a certain rower who I've been working with, and I've seen it also within a lot of my athletes within the upper echelon of the CrossFit world, although a lot of people understand it, but predominantly with the endurance world that I work with, is once we start eating the quality of food, people don't understand that once the training and the volume starts to increase, the quality, the intensity, even the volume with the longer distances, all that stuff, they're not taking in enough fat. It is that people do not understand how important that is, and what we tend to see once they start to take in more fat, is that central nervous system starts to really buffer. they're able to recover quicker. Their body really gets fat adaptive, and they are, it become the body just recovers quicker.
I think too with fat, what this is what's important to understand, and you can answer the question in a moment about what are good fats, because everybody wants to know that.
Yeah.
We think it's obvious, but I think it's important to understand that you want to, over time, train your body to access fat as a primary fuel source. It also, for those of you that are working hard, you're training hard, and you're suffering from energy woes. In other words, you're kind of getting tired, you're getting a little fatigued. Look at fat as a solution there. Too many people want to go back to the carbohydrate, which we'll address in a moment.
And that's an easy thing to want to do.
It's an easy thing to do.
I catch myself with it myself, but it's like, dude, you don't understand. That's not what your body is primarily going to for fuel. And if you're trying to recover, that's not. It's not even the fuel source isn't even really the primary reason that we're using that fat. It's getting the eicosanoids out of that stuff,
Right.
so that your body can really start to clean up that inflammation, that silent inflammation, all that stuff that's getting jacked up because you're either going out and training long or going out and doing multiple high intensity workouts, and your system just cannot recover.
So a lot of people ask, we think it's kind of common sense, but we realize that sometimes common sense ain't so common. So
No.
people ask the question on what kind of fats am I supposed to eat? And your answer would be what?
Dude, start with avocados, seeds. Try not to do a whole ton of nuts. A lot of people want to go to the nut route. It's a tough thing to do and digest. But you're finding anything with MCTs, medium chain fats, especially like coconut oil, olive oils. You get high quality oils, things like that. Butters, coconut butter, almond butter. If you can handle it, the peanut butter. Although a lot of the paleo crowd's gonna go fucking crazy on me with that, dude. If you can tolerate the peanuts, go for it. If you can't, don't. Fuck it. Get the fat in you, and you will see a difference. Trust me. That doesn't mean that you need to go complicate this whole thing and just start eating just fat. Okay. It means you need to probably just start to up it. There's something. I'm finishing up my book, and one of the things that we've been addressing within the nutrition thing is it was like years ago we were sitting there and I was discussing not only with Rob Wolf but with Greg Glassman. We were talking about what I ate, what I was doing, and they were like, "Yeah, I bet you up your fat," and somewhere between 3 and 5 times normal prescription of what zone is. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what that's weird. You guys just said that." And they're like, "No. It's normal because you're going to need that fat in order to have the ability to stay on it." And a lot of people choose to go that route of taking in more carbohydrate, which is not as calorie dense, but your body becomes what kind of dependent? You become glycogen dependent. So your body chooses that quicker route to function.
Yeah, and I think if for those of you that have been experimenting with this for a while, we've been doing it in competition and in coaching. I think that it takes you a couple of weeks only to really adapt to it, but you've got to stick to it.
Yeah.
And it's something that if you're still trying to consume gels and bars and so on, in addition to increasing fat, it won't always be the solution.
No.
You've got to start to make that transition, because even when you start to introduce a little bit of that carbohydrate into your system, and then we'll talk about what type of carbohydrate in a moment, it's still going to cause that insulin response, and it's still going to cause you to want to take in more carbohydrate.
Absolutely.
So,
but don't take that out of context and think that we're telling you to remove all carbohydrates from your diet. You can still have the sweet potatoes. You can still do some of the fruit. You can still do these things. You should be doing them. But if training goes up, everything goes up, guess what? So does the fat.
You got to remember that. I mean, that's an important point. I mean, you eat in response to your training volume, load, and intensity. If I was traveling the last several days and I wasn't training as hard, so guess what? I just brought everything down a little bit and I focused on my hydration. It's better for your body weight. You'll stay a little bit leaner that way, which is good news for a lot of you. But also, look, you have enough in you to last. We talked about it before. You can go a long time without eating, but you can't go a long time without hydration.
No.
So,
But try not to get too crazy with that one either, and think that you've got to be gobbling down water every second or during a workout or even on a run or on a bike, because if you actually do get thirsty and are doing that during a workout or a run or a ride or whatever, then you probably weren't adequately hydrated in the first place.
yeah, I think that's a great point.
So you're just chasing the dragon.
Well, and especially during competition, don't mistake hunger for hydration. And if you're really well hydrated, you should be able to go at a fairly high intensity for 90 minutes, maybe even 2 hours if you're, a seasoned athlete and you've been training that way for a while. But how many times in a 45-minute criterium, I'm going to see a guy sucking down a gel or finishing 18 ounces of water when it's 68 degrees outside? And so type of carbohydrate, that was another question that came up a lot from the last show. Again, what type of carbohydrate can I consume is the question. What's better, a banana or a vegetable? Can I have the sweet potato like you said? I mean, when is it okay to have a bar? Your response to that? I mean, our primary choice for vegetables is our carbohydrate choice is vegetable.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, that doesn't mean I'm going to totally avoid doing a banana from time to time or putting a banana in my smoothie to make it taste better. And it doesn't mean I avoid sweet potatoes because I use sweet potatoes. There's great things to get out of sweet potatoes. It's not just the carb response. There's other nutrients involved in it. But, from time, I probably eat sweet potatoes, I don't know, 3 times a week. I don't know.
I was in Portugal.
Yeah.
And had arguably the best sweet potato I've ever had. Their sweet potatoes are actually white. They're not an orange sweet potato.
So it's like the Okinawan one.
Huh?
Have you seen the Okinawan?
What are you talking about? Okinawan?
Yeah, Okinawan sweet potatoes, dude.
Really?
Yeah, they're white and they got like a purple ring in them.
Well, these were really good.
Okay. I believe you. I'm just
saying.
Yeah.
So here's the other question that came up. And this one, it's a touchy one, but what about this supplement? What about that supplement? What about, can I take this and can I take this with this type of powder? And some of our responses were, look, supper before supplements. You got to make sure that your food is clean and you're eating really well before you should really start to consider supplementation. And I think that supplementation should be, it just has to cover up the patches and the holes, but it shouldn't be the primary way of you looking at performance or getting lean.
I would say blood work, clean up your diet as clean as you can. Go anywhere from 1 to 3 months of eating absolutely as clean as possible. Get blood work done again, find out what you're deficient in or what you need, and from there, that's where the supplementation can probably begin.
And the question came to us, if you are training a couple of times a day, your blood panel's okay, you're competitive, you're really busy, what type of supplements would we recommend? And I'm like, that is a slippery slope because it really depends. There's so many other factors.
Well, you be the judge of that.
You got to remember, food's like a drug too, right? And if you can first establish how you feel and how you train and how you react based upon the macronutrients that you consume, then you can start getting a little bit more fine. So, last question that came up, carbohydrates. We talked a little bit about fat. We talked about protein. Carbohydrate. There's a difference between what type of carbohydrate you put into your body, and we're coming out with a product very soon that it's taken us a long time to develop, and that has always been it's been the issue in endurance and in sport for as long as I can remember, is what type of carbohydrate, how much, and how do you address the slow digesting carb versus the non-slow digesting carb. So talk about that a little bit, and our product's going to have actually a pretty unique blend. It's going to have a carbohydrate that's going to act like a fiber that's a slow digesting carb.
Yeah, we've been toying with an HTP waxy maize. It's been chemically altered. It's actually been used in baby foods and stuff, and people might use it within cooking just as a thickener agent. It sits at about a 36 on the glycemic index. It is radical in the fact that the liver will start to kick out glucose at about 3 hours, anywhere from about 2 to 3 hours, I believe, is the research on that. And the importance on that is that if you actually eat clean and are a fat adapted athlete, that you will start to get that glucose functioning without insulin spikes and have steady blood sugar as you're actually competing. Couple that with
they have a special guest.
With the protein and medium chain fats that we're going to have in the product, and it's the whole thing works as one complete function.
And I guess it's important as we start to wrap up here. Why are we doing this? We've been getting approached by a lot of people. We have been approached by a lot of people in the past about coming up with a product, and we've been experimenting for most of our lives on product and supplementation. And my response has been, we just wanted to find something that was not just cost effective, but also something that doesn't complicate things, right? Something you can take pre, post, during.
You could do it for CrossFit. You can take it, the unique thing about it is that you can use it for CrossFit. You're going to still recover. You're going to still get the stuff you need, especially if you take it pre and post workouts. Then you eat just normally within the endurance world. It's something you would take before you start, and then you take it just as you would any other product, continuing through your event depending upon the length and duration of that event, and never running out of energy, yet never spiking your insulin levels, never getting your gut in jeopardy of shutting down. It's a win-win.
One of the other things that I think is important to mention to everybody is that we were in development with other products and doing things, and we really had to field test a lot ourselves, just like we've been doing, in addition to the science and the information that we have to support it. But it's really difficult unless you start to go out and field test. We've had a lot of people test, from MMA athletes to triathletes to ourselves to the athletes that we coach, and it's taken a long time to tweak, but we're pretty happy and excited about it. Huh?
Very. If you haven't seen my blog post on it, hit my blog. IamUnscared.com. I did a post on it, and there's a bunch of links into studies on it too, and some research that that shows on it, and then the fact that we've got a bunch of athletes that this product was actually developed within our community for our community. It wasn't a product that was already developed or brought in saying to be used for the community. This is actually something that was developed in conjunction with the CrossFit and CrossFit endurance type athletes. It's something that's never been done before. We're doing it ourselves. We're starting very, very small, and we're allowing it to grow as it needs to. That's it. This wasn't, this was something we were doing for ourselves. My kitchen, your kitchens were kind of...
It looked like a laboratory when you walked in, smoked and things were going around. And
in fact, a buddy of mine just came over because he watched all this stuff. He's working on our Travis Conley, Dr. Conley, and he's like, dude, where can I get my hands on some of this carbohydrate? And he came over the other night, and I gave him a little Ziploc baggie of the carb, which looks like a bag of cocaine.
Yeah. And did you tell him to put it underneath his car?
Yeah, tape it underneath the car. He was laughing. So,
well, it's we're excited about it, and I think you make a great point. It's a response. This product that we're calling 3 Fuel is a response to you. It's a response to people that were telling us what they wanted, what they needed, and we went with it. And I'm excited about it. And really, it's a way for us to get our own product.
Yep.
And we're just unfortunately going to turn it around to you as well.
Yeah, so look
cool
for
stuff.
the next week or two for pre-orders, and then we will go from there. You will see it off of CrossFit Endurance, I'm Unscared, and any of our social media.
3fuel.com. That's going to wrap up the show. We tore through a lot of information. Tune in to CrossFit.com and watch all the wrap-up shows that are going on. They're outstanding.
Games.CrossFit.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
We will see you in a couple of weeks.
Rory McKiernan doing the walk of shame for actually Spieler having the comeback of the CrossFit. I think this is the greatest thing that happened within CrossFit so far.
Congratulations, Chris. See
Nice
everybody
job.
next time.
Later.
Bye.